Hey, welcome to the Monitor. Just getting right to it this week. And what do we have this week is really the better question. And the answer to that is threefold, or if you are a high school Latin student, tripartite. We have this week the return of the most, maybe the most underrated sitcom actor on today. We have an album that is among my most anticipated of the year, but no longer anticipated because it is out. And first, the return of the Wachowskis. Wachowski Starship, of course, Andy and Lana Wachowski, along with Tom Twyker, have made Cloud Atlas, the adaptation of the structurally bizarre 6 intertwining story novel. And the question was, how do you adapt the unadaptable book? And the answer, thankfully, is pretty damn well. The Wachowskis and Tom Twyker really took it upon themselves to break down David Mitchell's novel and build it back together, with special attention paid to teasing out for the viewer how these 6 different storylines, which span from the 18th century through to the far-off future and from continent to continent, how those play out and how those are interrelated. It's really a story of kind of karma and interrelation and reincarnation. Thankfully, I had read the book, so sitting in the screening, I knew what was going on immediately, and it was very easy to follow along. I kept trying to think, how would someone who had not read this book be dealing with this movie? And I don't really have an answer for you. So if you have read the book, definitely see the movie. It's really interesting. It's visually sumptuous and at times stark and at times bleak, but really well shot, obviously, considering the firepower behind it. Conceptually, it's also really interesting. Obviously, they stripped out some characters that were in the book, and they streamlined some things, and they added in some things to make it a little more Hollywood. But when you're taking a book of this complexity and trying to distill it down to movie length, even if that movie is nearly 3 hours, you're going to have to do a little rejiggering. That being said, not being disappointed by the movie version of a book like that is an accomplishment that you can only hope for. So if you have read Cloud Atlas, definitely see Cloud Atlas. If you have not read Cloud Atlas, I don't know what to tell you. I hesitate to recommend it only because I think you should read the book. It's great. And then see it. So read it fast because you're going to want to see this on the big screen. It is a movie befitting the Wachowskis' love of grandeur, and so it definitely delivers that. So it is out this weekend. Put it on your list. Let's talk about music. Okay, thank you. What was my favorite rap album of last year? It was Kendrick Lamar's Section 80. And what is shaping up to be one of my favorite albums of this year, based solely on this week's new album? Why, it's Kendrick Lamar with Good Kid, Mad City. After last year's incredible Section 80, he famously signed with Dr. Dre, and while that has proven to be a bit of a questionable move for some emerging rappers, it works. It works because it's not Dr. Dre asking Kendrick to be someone else. It is a Kendrick Lamar record. There's been 2 singles from it, which you have probably heard, The Recipe with Dr. Dre on it, and Swimming Pools, which is maybe the best hip-hop track devoted to alcoholism that I've ever heard in my life. The thing about Kendrick Lamar is he has a verbal dexterity that is straight out of like 90s underground hip-hop, and it's amazing to hear that this is the dude who is blowing up. I mean, you expect so much of new music and so many new rappers come out, and there's a simplicity to it just because that's what works on radio. Kendrick Lamar and Black Hippie Crew have fashioned this this grassroots movement based on straight skill. I mean, the dude is unbelievable. His flow is malleable. He goes over everything. He can switch up his style 2-3 times in a song. He's not afraid to use funny voices. He's got personality. He's got insight. He's got confidence, and it all is put to great effect on this album. He showcases every part of himself. He's not fitting into that thing where you sign with Dre and Dre wants to make you sound a certain way. This is a Kendrick Lamar album, and there are beats from Dre on it, obviously, and he sounds great on them, but it's still a Kendrick Lamar record, and that is the highest praise I could possibly give it. Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar. It is out this week. Make sure you listen. Guaranteed this is one of the best rap records of the year. Back to you. Okay, thank you for that. Let's talk about TV for a second. If you've gleaned this from ever watching The Monitor, I think that television on cable is way better than network stuff. One of the rare exceptions to that is the ABC sitcom Happy Endings, which is back this week for season 3. and it boasts some of the best comic performances on television, seriously. I mean, you may have written this off as a Friends rehash, but I promise you that not only is the sextet super tight with their kind of the rhythms of the dialogue and the jokes that they have together, but Damon Wayans Jr. Those three words are all you need. He plays a guy named Brad, and the character, but really more Damon Wayans Jr., is up there with Schmidt from New Girl as one of my favorite sitcom characters that's on TV right now. Also, Eliza Coupe, who plays his wife, and Casey Wilson, who was an old SNL alum and is also on the show, are all hilarious and all fantastic, and the show really hit its stride last year. Season 1 was a short season. It might have been come on during the summer, didn't find its rhythm. Last year it really hit and was firing on all cylinders, especially by the end of the season, and they're back in fine form. If this is a show you're not really familiar with, it's a fine time to pick up. It's not like they have so much history that you're not going to get or the in-jokes that you're not going to get. Just jump right in. That's one of the nice things about a network sitcom is they have to simplify it to a degree. So there is that. It's also some of the best joke writing on television today, and I say that as a fan of Community. So try it. You won't be sorry you did. Okay, that is it for The Monitor this week. As always, in the intervening days between now and next week's episode, you can email us at themonitor@wired.com with suggestions and ideas and criticisms and especially praisings. But until next week and the beginning of the Q4 video game onslaught, inspirational catchphrase here.